Hey Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Welcome to another story time with Grandpa. This time we're going to do from the Rand McNally book of favorite nursery classics. We're going to do something a little bit different. Most of these are fairy tales that come from the Brothers Grimm or Aesop or Anderson. This one today is called Rip Van Winkle, and it was actually written in the 19th century, in 18 something, by an American writer named Washington Irving. This is a poetic version of it, and it has very little of the real story in it. I mean, there's all kinds of cool things in the actual short story, which I've read about the time period. When Rip goes to sleep, it's before the American Revolution, so he goes to sleep as a subject of the British Crown. And he wakes up after the Revolution, and he says something like "God save the King," and people are like, "Whoa, you're out of control." Anyway, let's get started. This is a big book, and I'm in this little corner here, so we'll see if I can put the book up there and you can actually see the pictures. In a village near the Catskill Mountains, Rip Van Winkle led a carefree life in a tumble-down old house with his children and his wife. And there they are, children and wife. Tumble down means they were poor. On a bench beside the village inn, through a long summer's day, Rip and his friends would sit and talk the hours away. So apparently Rip wasn't into going to work. So there he is with his buddies, hanging out on the bench. I can imagine that the wife is not too happy. Rip was a special friend of the village girls and boys. He flew their kites and played their games and mended all their toys. So he kind of thought he was some sort of a social worker. But let's see what the wife says. Happy wife, happy life. While you mend toys, cried his wife in a rage, the roof on our house is leaking. But Rip and his dog took to the woods while his angry spouse was speaking. Lucky guy. And there he is. Him and his hound dog. As the mountains cast their shadows and the sun sank low in the sky, Rip beheld a man with a keg climbing the path nearby. Rip hastened to offer assistance, and much to his surprise, he found a dwarf-like fellow with flowing beard and beady eyes. And here's the first part where they're looking up, and then you can see the fellow with beady eyes, got like a blonde beard. Not a word had the stranger spoken as they climbed to the mountain top. Sounds of thunder rumbled and rolled. The little man motioned Rip to stop. And there he is, going up there. And that's where he stops. The peals of thunder grew closer, rumbling, rumbling, rolling. Rip saw through the trees an open spot where more little men were bowling. And so you can see this is one big picture, and this dude's bowling. See that? Guy all the way over there on the left is swinging back a bowling ball, and then all the way on the right you can see the bowling pins. There's a bird sitting there. The bird's not going to be happy as soon as the ball gets there. They were dressed like his companion. There must have been 8 or 10. They stared at Rip in silence, then turned to their game again. And here they are. The ball made a noisy rumble as it rolled along the ground. Then it knocked the 9 pins down with a crashing, thunderous sound. And here's Rip grew weary of watching this odd company at play. He sat down to rest, but alas, he fell sound asleep right away. And there he is, falling asleep. Now look at what he looks like now. And then let's read what happens when he wakes up. The birds were singing when Rip woke up, and the sun was shining bright. What excuse shall I give my wife for sleeping here all night? And here he is, and look what he looks like now. He looks a little bit like your grandpa. Yeah, I'm wearing a hat, so my hair doesn't look like that. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He thinks he slept for the night, and then he woke up and went like, what am I going to tell my wife? He didn't know that he was old, with a beard that was long and white, or that he had slept for 20 years instead of just one night. And here he is, like, whoa, I'm up. He whistled and called for his dog, but Wolf was nowhere about. All he could hear were the echoes returning his whistle and shout. So there's nobody in the area. And the dog, I'm assuming the dog is long gone. Dogs are faithful. 20 years is a long time. So Rip picked up his rusty gun, and hungry now for food, he hobbled slowly home again in a sad and troubled mood. When he reached the village, people stopped to stare, for Rip was a sight to behold with his raggedy clothes and long white hair. And here he is. There's the people looking at him, and there he is, all raggedy. Does nobody know Rip Van Winkle? He asked. His eyes were filled with tears. Rip Van Winkle, said 2 or 3. He's been gone for 20 years. And here, it's a lady that's his age, though. Oh, and that's her. It is Rip Van Winkle, said an old woman as she tottered to his side. Where have you been these 20 years? And here are your children, she cried. And there's the children. So, and there's a dog that looks like Wolf. On a bench beside the village inn, as in the days long past, Rip would tell his story to strangers when they asked. And here's Rip talking. Like I said, there's a lot more to the story. I think the wife was dead by the time that he got home. And he wasn't mad about that. Although he was a lazy bum. Rip Van Winkle, he was cool to the kids and all that kind of stuff, but he needed to put a roof on his house. And to this day, when village children hear the thunder, rumbling, rolling, they say that the little men are up in the mountains bowling. And here's the little kids saying that the thunder is little men bowling. Peace out. Ciao.